The 9th India, Latin America, and the Caribbean conclave concludes in New Delhi. Israeli soldiers killed a young Palestinian man aged 18 during the riots in the West Bank Palestinian refugee camp. Niger's new military board said Thursday night it will break military agreements with France, its former colonial ruler. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Ana Marrero from the teleSUR headquarters in Caracas, Venezuela. We begin with the news. Stay with us. In New Delhi, the closing session of the 9th India, Latin America, and the Caribbean conclave is being held. This important event concludes this Friday, where 25 countries from Latin America and the Caribbean, such as Cuba, Mexico, Bolivia, Honduras, Haiti, among others, participated with government delegations and businessmen. This is the 9th meeting in which investments and cooperation opportunities were discussed among the countries attending. During the closing session, the Vice President of Venezuela, Delcy Rodriguez, highlighted the economic importance of India at world level, as well as the central role of the BRIC and the opportunities for cooperation with Latin America. On the other hand, the Executive Vice President of Venezuela referred to the unilateral coercive measure against her country that affects the region.
I'm talking at this moment as an affected country by illegitimate sensations that are taking back our region. We have seen the impact that has in the Caribbean region, has also in South America. The principal energy producer of the world has been struck by sensations, but also is hitting the bi-regional trade. When we see how between the years 2018 and 2022, Venezuela were exporting to India was $15 million, being very shocked by the blockade. So we said that the lifting of that unlawful and illegitimate sensation is necessary for all of us.
On Friday in India, the Minister of Petroleum and Natural Gas met with the Vice President of Venezuela, Delcy Rodriguez, in the framework of the India, Latin American, and the Caribbean conclave. The Executive Vice President of Venezuela said that this meeting is an opportunity to build complementarity in the multipolar world from the cooperation of knowledge, science, technology, and innovation. The Indian minister has said that foreign policy, the trade policy, and domestic policy are being implemented with a view to benefit Indian citizens and the world. In this context, the 4th India-CARICOM ministerial meeting was held in New Delhi under the slogan, "Unleashing the Potential of the Global South." The event took place within the framework of the 9th India, Latin America, and the Caribbean conclave, with the participation of delegations from Venezuela, Cuba, Mexico, among other countries. The ministerial meeting discussed the importance of addressing a variety of global issues such as food and energy security and the fight against climate change. The officials were focused on deepening political commitments and cooperation in the context of post-pandemic economic recovery. In Brazil on Friday, a group of demonstrators protested in the vicinities of a public security department in São Paulo to condemn police brutality and abuse. Demonstrators from the Black movement and victims' families chanted a slogan against the governor of the state, and they demanded the end of the military police. Demonstrations and claims come after the Operation Shields deployed 600 agents to reinforce the surveillances in the neighborhood of Villa Julia and Villa Silda in the outskirts of Guarioya to detain the alleged responsible of the death of an agent. At the same time, the demonstrators pointed that the action was an disproportionate revenge that cost the life of 16 people in several coastal towns in the region on the outskirts of Brazil's largest cities, largely populated by Black people. Colombia's prosecutor's office on Thursday confirmed that the eldest son of President Gustavo Petro, Nicolas Petro, will collaborate with the justice system after being charged with money laundering and illicit enrichment. The prosecutors in the case, Mario Burgos, then announced that Nicolas Petro acknowledged having received illegal money and added that it was used for his own benefit and for the electoral campaigns of the current head of state. Burgos affirmed that the president's son said he had received the capital from Samuel Santander, López Sierra, Gabriel Isaica Costa, and Oscar Camacho, all accused of drug trafficking. For his part, on Thursday afternoon, Colombian President Gustavo Petro distanced himself from any irregular actions carried out by his son during the presidential campaign. The president's statement came after his son, Nicolas Petro Burgos, said to Colombia's general prosecutors that his father's 2022 presidential campaign received irregular financing. Meanwhile, President Petro said that he has never requested any of his sons or daughters to commit any crimes, neither to win nor to finance campaigns, nor for anything to do with power.
When truth be exposed, the one thing that you will not see happening is any evidence pointing to the president having asked any of his offspring to commit a crime, nor having been an accomplice, because that never happened.
Let's take a very short break, but remember you can now follow us on our TikTok account as teleSUR English, where you'll be able to see news in different formats, news updates, and more. Stay tuned for more news. Welcome back to From the South. In Mexico, 18 people died in a bus accident occurred this Thursday on a highway in the state of Niger. According to the Secretary of Security and Citizens Protection, at least 18 people died in western Mexico when a passenger bus plunged off a highway into a ravine earlier on Thursday. Passengers were mostly foreigners and some were heading for a U.S. border. 14 of the fatalities were adults and 3 were minors. The impact occurred at 2 p.m. local time at a high point located in the town of Barranca Blanca in the Tecmazatlan highway. Authorities indicate that a total of 22 people, including the drivers, were taken to medical emergencies and only one person was not injured.
I reaffirm once again that drivers must be subjected to street health examinations in general terms. They should not be under the effects of any substance that would alter their driving efficiency.
In Portugal, half a million young people welcomed Pope Francis at the official opening ceremony of the World Catholic Youth Festival. Along the almost 7 kilometers that separate their base from the presidential palace, numerous young people from all over the world and many inhabitants of Lisbon waited for hours for the papal procession to pass. Minutes after its arrival, the Pope addressed the crowd, to whom he gave an emotional message. After the central event, the Pope moved to the Cascais, a coastal city west of Lisbon, to visit the local branch of his Class Foundation, a movement he founded in 2013 to bring young people of different origins and nationalities together. Israeli soldiers killed a young Palestinian man aged 18 during a riot in a West Bank Palestinian refugee camp. The young man, who had just graduated from high school weeks earlier, was shot at point-blank range as Israeli troops stormed the camp in Mariah to resume 3 within the camp's residents. Fierce confrontations broke out. More than 200 Palestinians have been killed this year in the occupied Palestinian territories and the Gaza Strip, with a majority of these fatalities recorded in the occupied West Bank. Niger's new military board said on Thursday night it will break military agreements with France, its former colonial ruler. In a TV statement, the spokesman of the National Council for the Safeguarding of the Homeland announced the termination of 5 military pacts with France dated between the 1977 and 2020. As a result of France will have to withdraw between 1,000 and 1,500 military personnel deployed in the country. The Ethiopian government declared a state of emergency in the Amhara region on Friday after days of clashes between army and local militias in Fano. The clashes that erupted earlier this week quickly became Ethiopia's most serious security crisis since the end of the 2-year civil war in neighboring Tigray region last November. The Amhara government on Thursday requested additional help for federal authorities to restore order. The surface temperature of the world ocean hit its highest level as climate breakdown from burning soils fuels causes the oceans to heat. The daily average seas surface temperatures reached 20.96 degrees Celsius this week, beating the record of 20.95 in the 2016, according to the Copernicus Climate Modeling Service. Scientists said the record is likely to continue to be broken as the oceans normally reach their warmest point globally in March, not August. Temperatures are likely due to part of the El Niño weather phenomenon. However, these weather patterns are likely to be exacerbated by climate disease and atmospheric warming. On Friday, more than 1.2 million people have been evacuated from flood areas in Hebei province in northern China. Meanwhile, more than 6,000 residents from 12 villages near the river were moved to safety on Thursday. Rescuers in China's northeastern province of Heilongjiang have moved more than 6,000 residents who were trapped in their homes due to the continuous heavy rains in recent days. Let's take our last break, but before we invite you to visit our YouTube channel at teleSUR English, where you'll be able to see, to rewatch our interviews, top stories, special broadcasts, and more. Hit the subscribe button and active the notification bell to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. One financial break, don't go away. Welcome back. And now we headed to southwestern China, where a local football championship won over the hearts of the entire country and last weekend. After the Sun Xiao took over Chinese social media, hundreds of thousands of tourists began traveling to the small town of on weekends to watch matches with teams made up of local workers. Brazilian TV correspondent in China, Mauro Ramos, attended the final game and will tell us more about it.
The passion for football in China continues to grow. This year, in addition to the fever generated by the arrival of Argentinian idol Lionel Messi for the friendly games against Australia and the participation of the national team in the Women's World Cup, a phenomenon piqued the interest of Chinese people throughout the country. A tournament in a small country called Rongjiang. In Guangxi province in southwestern China, the championship is called Shunshao and can be translated as the Village Super League. The final took place last weekend. 20 teams from various places and with players from different ethnic groups participating in it. The players are all workers from the region, peasants, students, drivers, and local business, people aged between 15 and 50 years. As a peasant, I have to go to the field in the morning. Nowadays, it is not as backward as it used to be, so we can use modern tools. Every morning I go to the field to see if there are any problems with the crops. I go early in the morning and come back at noon. I take a 2 hours break at noon and then go back to the field to see my crops. This was the first time that Shunshao took on national proportions. The small county of Rongyang, with a population of 385,000, received around 1 million tourists after the games trended on Chinese social media. On Saturday, July 29, more than 150,000 people traveled to Rongyang to watch the final. Shunshao, the Super Village League, is first and foremost a showcase for our collective confidence and Rongyang's culinary delights. It also serves as a way to bond through football culture, showcasing our local cuisine and the intangible cultural heritage of our ethnic minorities. Fundamentally, it has greatly contributed to Rongyang's economic growth and ultimately significantly increased the cohesion of our community. Wu Shaishi is a peasant from Shongshen, the village that came runner-up throughout the Shunshao. She sold juices and fruit that she grew herself on her land.
Today is Song Chao's final. At first, we really didn't imagine that Song Chao would become so popular. We really welcome friends from different places to come to our Song Chao. They have helped us a lot in business, bringing great benefits to Rongyang in Kweichow. We're excited and happy to meet all of you, our friends from the outside. And, well, I really don't know what to say. I'm very excited right now.
In the first month of the championship, tourism in Rongyang generated more than 1.2 billion yuan, about 167 million US dollars. The neighbors organized the entire event, the teams, the calendar of the game, the rules and the prizes, which were animals raised by the peasants of the region themselves. The winning team, Shenyang, won a bull, the runners-up, Shongshen, won goats, those from Shamba came third and won the prizes of pig, and those in fourth place, the Xinshong, got geese. The judges, the lines people, and the best players also took home chickens. The initiative is part of a larger project that is rural revitalization. As part of the policy, the central government set a goal of creating more than 100 rural sport events by 2035. Rural revitalization in China is the country's strategy to consolidate the achievement of poverty reduction and the elimination of extreme poverty in recent years. It is also part of the Chinese modernization project.
Chao has indeed stimulated our local economy. For example, many local villagers would usually go outside their hometowns for work. But thanks to this platform and these activities, many people can come back to work in their hometowns. As a result, the local economies get boosted, and many people are also happy that they don't have to leave their hometown to find work.
Rongyang was one of the last 9 counties in China to be removed from the country's poverty list in 2020. One of the guiding elements of the campaign that lifted 100 million people out of the poverty in a year was how to ensure people stay out of poverty. The promotion of sports and rural tourism is one of the responses that China has been implementing. The local football association, as well as the Dong and Miao Ethnic Studies Association, organize the games. The government provides funds for the necessary infrastructure, while we are responsible for organizing the games. Regarding financing, we reject all forms of commercialization, sponsorship and profit. As during all the weekends in which it was played, the final of the Shunshao featured cultural activities representing the ethnic diversity of the region. One of these presentations included 600 women of different communities singing on the football pitch. More than 83% of Rongyang's population belonged to 15 ethnic groups, such as the Miao and Dong. The final match was practically settled. Shongshen was winning 2-1, when a few minutes before the end of the match, Shenyang teams scored the draw goal. The match went directly to penalties, and finally the resident of Shenyang took home the winning title. It has been a long and difficult day, but we managed to win the championship. I am proud, happy and delighted from being a peasant to winning the Shunshao Championship. I am extremely happy.
Desde China, Mauro Ramos de la TVT para teleSUR.
We have come to the end of this news brief, but you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. You can also join us on our socials. We're on Facebook and Twitter and on Instagram as well. For teleSUR English and from the South, I'm Ana Marrero. Thank you for watching.